Hi, virtual choir participants. My name is Marianne Grzwalski. I'm the choir conductor for the Young Women Composers Camp. Thank you so much for being a part of this new work. I'm about to walk you through some important rehearsal moments in the piece. We'll have a chance to practice them together, and then you can mark your score accordingly to keep these moments in mind when you go to actually record the video for this exciting project. Before we start, it'll be helpful to have a pencil handy. In measure 12 for soprano 1 and soprano 2, there's an ending consonant in the form of a s for the word muse that comes right on the and of 3. Please echo me. 1 and 2 and 3, s. Now I'll demonstrate the soprano 1 part starting at measure 10, going up to measure 12. My own muse. I would go ahead and circle that rest and even write an S over the top of it to make sure that the S comes exactly on the and of 3. At letter B, the composer gives a note that says whimsical. Before, the opening section was introductory, giving us the main theme, and is intended to be sung very lyrically. Here, the composer would like us to be a bit more playful and worry less about lyrical, beautiful singing. I'm also going to demonstrate the soprano 1 part at B, or measure 17, in order to give you an idea of what those X notes over catch my comb should sound like. Catch my comb through greasy lines of black. On the downbeat of measure 23, we should hear a voice consonant D, which comes at the end of the word thread. A voice consonant just means a consonant that you can actually give a pitch to, like this. D. Try it with me. D. Now I'll tie that back in, singing the soprano 1 part from measure 20, going up to the downbeat of measure 23. Thread. Looking ahead, at measure 23, there's an important change for all voice parts. First, the tempo gets much slower, and second, we have a mood change from what was whimsical before in section B to now marked tenderly. As a singer, you can really allow yourself to change character and facial expression. When we get to measure 28, the composer has given us, for all parts, a new mood change. Remember that as a singer, you can circle it to remind yourself that you can actually change facial expression and embody the character of this new mood. Please take a look at measure 35 for all voice parts. We want to make sure that the word me is exactly 3 beats long in 6/8 time. We'll slow it down a little bit and feel 6/8 this fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to demonstrate the alto part, starting in measure 35, and listen to how I dice up the word me into 3 separate notes to make sure it's long enough. Tells me I'm tough. Now I'll do the same thing without chopping it, but now that I've practiced that, it will help me make sure it's long enough. Tells me I'm tough. In pickups to measure 36 for all voice parts, please go ahead and circle the piano dynamic and notice that through measure 38 it increases all the way to forte. At measures 42 and 43 for all voice parts, we have 2 X note heads on the words flit and dance. We also have lines that mean slide up to those approximate pitches. I'll go ahead and demonstrate what that should sound like. Just keep in mind it will sound a little bit different for each person. I flit or dance. In measure 50, you'll probably realize that the theme from the very beginning of the piece has returned here. However, in measure 49, the composer has marked that the tempo is slightly slower than the beginning and also has given us an emotion word that says declaring. Please go ahead and circle these components. In measure 61, we have the opportunity as singers to worry less about beautiful sound and really embody bright and shouting in our vocal color. I will sing the alto part for you, starting at measure 61. At measure 65, you should note that the tempo has now changed, and then in the following measure at letter E, We have piano dynamic and a direction from the composer to sing whimsical and light. Here's another opportunity for you to circle these aspects and to really give a change of character and emotion in your facial expression. At the very end of measure 72, you'll see a breath mark. I'll demonstrate the timing of this breath mark for all voice parts. Pieces, courage. The breath mark is essentially the same thing as an eighth note rest between the words pieces and courage. You'll do the exact same thing if you scroll down to letter G, measure 88. This time, it's between the words pistols and velvet. Please go ahead and circle these breath marks. As we near the end of the piece at measure 100, we're in 9/8 time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a very specific ending consonant that must come on the 8th beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. T. I will speak the word light and dice it up so that you can hear each beat. La a a a a a a t. Without the dicing sounds like this. Light. This is really important because it lines up with the soloist who has a moving melody above and puts their T at the same time. At letter H, or measure 101, there are a lot of details to consider in the final measures of the piece. Please circle or highlight the dynamic starting with the mezzo piano all the way crescendoing through double forte, and a lot of the accents so that you can include them and make the end of the piece very dramatic and exciting.